Hello! So, we are back with another recent deck acquisitions from the month. And, actually, well, for me, I feel like this isn't like a crazy, a crazy amount this time, but it's so funny. I feel like with certain, like when I get certain decks, I'm like, okay, like, it's gonna be like a, a slow month, yet here we are, again. So, we're gonna get started, and actually this time I put the decks in the order I got them in. Because I keep a running list going, so every time I get a deck in, I add it to the list so that like I remember to show it in these. So I was like, why not? We've got the order already, let's just do it. So, starting out, we're just gonna get right into it. With the K Lenormand, this I found used on eBay. And it's tiny, so we're gonna hold it up here. Or should I zoom in more? I didn't really check to see like the... We're still gonna hold it. These are the backs. So pretty. I am such a fan of the artwork in the K decks. I have the tarot as well, which I didn't realize. Is that a print? Like, when did that happen? I'm hoping, though, that it's just gonna come back as a different edition. I don't know, I feel like that would be the case, because it just kind of randomly went out of print, you know? I don't know. Anyways. But I have been loving this Lenormand lately. I've been loving Lenormand in general. If you haven't seen, Logan at Larkin Legend has been doing a Lenormand series where they're teaching us Lenormand. Because they are just the pro, in my opinion. Because they make the most amazing Lenormand decks. But side note, so if you haven't checked that out and are wanting to learn Lenormand, I've been thoroughly enjoying that. But this has been a new favorite of mine for sure. The guidebook is amazing, and I just feel like this artwork feels so cozy and perfect to this time of year. And I love, oh my gosh, look at that. So beautiful. I love that we get, like there was the 2 different Lily cards. I thought that was super cool. But yeah, this one has definitely been a favorite this month. Oh, like look at that Clover card. It's just so beautiful, and I really love the tarot as well. Again, I'm hoping that just comes back in some way, because that was sad to hear about. But anyway, that is the K Lenormand. And as usual, I will have everything that I can link below, and the disclaimer of, if it is an Amazon link, it is most likely an affiliate link, which does not add any extra cost for you, it just helps me out, you know? So, that's that. Next. Oh my gosh, wait till you see. Okay. So, Andy went to the Northwest Tarot Symposium this year, and she always brings back, because she went last year too, and she knows. Last year, I think she asked me, like, okay, like, what's your budget? But she just, at this point, she knows. She knows kind of what I'm willing to spend on certain things. So she, last year, got me the Moonlit Fae bag for the Precious Possum Lenormand, which was so fun. This year, she found a treasure. Ellen Lorenzi Prince was at this year's Northwest Tarot Symposium, and at her table, she brought a few copies of the indie Dark Goddess Tarot, and was selling them for like the standard price. Oh my gosh. So Andy, she didn't even, again, she knows me and my tastes so well, she wouldn't have to ask anyway, like, do you want this? But she didn't even ask, because she was like, no, like, how could you pass that up? So I now am the proud owner of an indie edition of the Dark Goddess Tarot, and I'm really excited about it, because I really didn't think, or I didn't feel, oh, you don't belong in there. I still really enjoyed the mass market copy, and I will say, like, if you don't have this deck already and are interested in it, I do personally, I don't have a problem with the with the mass market one. It is thick, it is very glossy. They did some interesting clip art on the cards, but it still functions just the same as this one, and you get the big guidebook. So it's one of those things where, oh my gosh, look at that. I would have wanted to have a mass market copy anyway because the guidebook for that is so amazing. But I am so pleased to have this version as well, because it's just, you know, it's a little bit easier to shuffle. Personally, just a little bit nicer to look at. And I really, really like this deck. Even when, like, having the mass market one, I used it quite often and really enjoyed it. So, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Ellen Lorenzi prints. This deck is probably her favorite of mine. I also have the Tarot of the Crone, which I really love as well. And then I do have her two other tarots, which, to me, I kind of feel like I have them just because I really like her as a creator. But this and the Tarot of the Crone are the standouts to me. So, alright, we don't need to linger too long on this because I do realize it's not an easy one to get. But however, the mass market edition I think is also really great. So, that is the Dark Goddess Tarot. That was very exciting. I could not believe it when Andy told me she found that. Okay, next. This was, oh my gosh, I wish I could remember their name, but someone posted in Lisa Papez's Facebook group, I want to say, a pairing of this oracle with the Chrysalis Tarot, and I just about lost my mind. And it is the Secret Woods by Kelly Patton, an oracle. And this is just the most stunning artwork. What I will say, it's not, you do not get many cards in this. Oh gosh, I don't even know how many there are in here. Is there? Let's see if there's a table of contents to just quickly reference. Oh, I'm gonna have to count. Okay, hold on. That seems worth it to me. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 28 cards, which is even less than what is typically seen as kind of a skimpy oracle with like the low Scarabeo ones. So honestly, I would say that I gave some pause because of that, but I did not. What I will say is that like every card in this deck is a hit for me, and the art, I mean, come on, the art is just so good, and I loved seeing the pairing with the Chrysalis Tarot. It was so gorgeous. I haven't even tried those two together yet, but I find that this really pairs well with a lot of my decks. It's so fun. It's almost like archetypes, which I think is really cool. And I have not felt like, I think it would be cool if there were more cards in here, but I don't find that I notice that there's not that many cards in this deck because the substance is just really amazing, and just everything about the art. The cardstock is really interesting. It almost feels like, can you hear that texture? Hold on. Like unfinished, but not in like a bad way. Oh, look at that. Look at this. I think this is going to be just the perfect deck for the fall and winter because I really get into those kind of fantasy magical vibes, and this really fits that bill for me. Look, come on, look at these ants. Oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with this. It just is really gorgeous. Look it! That's so fun. It's sometimes, like, when it comes to decks being smaller, if the art is really there for me and the content is really there for me, I don't even notice, and this is one of those instances. So, that is the Secret Woods Oracle. Alrighty. Next up, speaking of those fantasy vibes, I finally got the Citadel Oracle. This is one I've just been seeing all over the place. It came out a few months ago in this form. And I always was thinking about it and just wasn't sure if I was gonna enjoy it, but oh, who uses this a lot? Denny Mystic, I feel like uses this a lot, and I don't remember. I feel like what will always sell me on a deck is when I see it being used in combination with another deck I really like, and I don't even remember what that was, but she definitely showed it with something else that I really enjoyed. But I am so excited about this deck. Everything, Fez Inkrite, like their artwork is so amazing. I used to have the Seed and Sickle. That one ultimately did not end up working for me. And not because of like the no keyword thing, that does not generally bother me. I think the idea of the two guidebooks was really confusing. Like having to make that choice, just, it felt like an executive function thing, which probably sounds really silly, but it was like having to make the choice of which guidebook to use. I just, it's like I was not using the deck because I was like, choices, eek. And oddly enough, like, I love Fez Inkrite's artwork, but something about it in that deck, just did not jive with me. However, this one is everything. I think it just really hits that fantasy feel so perfectly, and for some reason, especially now that I am part of a D&D campaign, I feel like even more so this, which is not a D&D deck, but I think it just reminds me of that kind of role-play fantasy. So I think that made me even more excited about this deck, which actually, I should try it with the Dungeons & Dragons Tarot. I think this would be a really fun combination. But I love the shape of it. The shape is really amazing because you can still riffle shuffle it, but you have this really unique card on the table, which is really fun. I just love everything about this. I really want to get some of Fez Inkrite's illustrated books, like the like the poison plant book. I can't think of what it's called, but this has been a win for me. I love it. That is the Citadel Oracle. I can't decide if I'm going to put it, like make a bag for it though, because I don't really know. I can't decide my feelings on these box styles. I don't hate it, but I don't know. I have to think on that. Alright. Next one is another eBay find, and it's the Nocturna Oracle. This creator is the same one as the... Oh, should have thought about that before I started the sentence. Anima Mundi. Anima Mundi Tarot, which I really, really enjoy. That one is like my wintertime animal deck. And so I've been really curious about that Oracle too, but just, I don't know, never really went for it. So when it came up used, look at those backs too, so pretty. I decided to give it a try, and I haven't really used this one yet because, like, again, their decks to me really slot into more of a true winter, and we're not, even though we did have some snow, I'm not really there yet. So I'm kind of waiting to bring this one out, but I'm really excited for it. The art is so gorgeous. I believe it's all oil painting. Oh, look at that card. So gorgeous. And do I have anything else to say? I don't know. I'm just a huge fan of their art. I keep looking at their washi tape they have. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna order some eventually because it's just so cool. It's so cool. And I really like, they've got a lot of cool stationery in their shop that eventually I'm just gonna buy some. I think next time I need a notebook, I'm gonna get one of their notebooks because they look gorgeous. But I'm excited about this deck. I think it's gonna be really cool. See, this one to me though, it feels like it would be really cool both in wintertime, but also it's giving me a bit of like a summer night vibe. I think it would really fit well into that category as well. So that is the Nocturna Oracle. Alright, next up, this was the purchase that I was referencing before, where I was like, alright, yeah, it's gonna be a slow month. And actually, well, no, because I did get quite a handful of decks after this, but regardless, this was the big purchase of the month. And that is the Nameless One. What is it even? The Nameless One Tarot and Oracle. Oh my gosh. Ignore any sort of, like, fingerprint marks going on here. That's not, like, a feature of the deck. I would not say that it easily takes on fingerprints. I just have a divination oil that I made that I like to rub on my hands before I do readings, especially readings with something like a deck like this. So it's just because that's my own fault. So don't look at this and be like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna get fingerprints all over it. If you just don't put oil on your hands before using it, you won't. But I've been thinking about this one for a while because I think, yes, Jess from Jess Reads Cards had this deck. Got it a while ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, that is really neat, the whole concept. But I was unsure about really what was going on there. And then Lisa Papez got this deck and did like an hour plus in-depth walkthrough of it. Oh my gosh, my throat. Excuse me. Did a huge in-depth walkthrough of this deck, also going through the paired big grimoire you can get with it. If you get like, well, you can buy it separate, but really the set makes it, you get some savings on the set. Anyway, and so that sold me. I just needed to see some more, you know? And this deck is as incredible, I feel like, as everyone has been making it sound. It does come with a guidebook in the box, but I will say, if you're thinking about getting this deck and you can kind of swing getting the big grimoire too, I do think it's really worth it. Okay, let's take a look at these cards. We're just gonna flip through here, but I think if you're curious, I really do recommend Lisa's long walkthrough because it was so helpful in just kind of making that decision. But we've got here sort of the artwork of the card with a sigil laid over it. And so it's just, I don't even know how to talk about this deck. Like, oh my gosh. I don't even know how to talk about this deck other than it's so magical. It's so magical. The amount of symbolism going on in this and all the different ways you really, it just lends itself to being used. Like, you have the sigils you can really lean into, or you can just lean into the artwork on the card. You can do both. It's just the options are, oh, like, look at that. I feel like the one that always gets pointed out is the strength card, but come on, that's so good. It pulls on so much just general symbology, but a lot of fairy tales and different stories. And it's like each card you can just get so into. It really is. It's a whole experience of a deck. And I got this towards the beginning of the month and just have been so thoroughly enjoying using this deck. I do it a lot. I won't really use this for like my daily readings in the morning, purely because spending the time to like really get into the guidebook is just, it's not something I want to do that early in the morning. So I like kind of using this if I'm doing an evening pull, just if I'm in the mood. I used it this month, which you'll see in my November wrap-up. I used this deck as my monthly card, which I'm really excited about. But look, oh, it's gorgeous. I don't even feel like I can do it justice right now. I totally recommend Lisa Papez's flip through because she really, really gets into it. But that is the Nameless One Oracle, and it's just continues to amaze. It has a spot on my altar right now. I have the big book sitting there in this with my crow bowl of witches' runes sitting on top of it, which is really fun. Okay. Next up, this was kind of a random purchase. I don't even know where I don't even think I saw this anywhere. I think I just randomly thought of it. Really what I should say is I have been really obsessed with Lo Scarabeo tarots. I just think their tuck box decks are so fun and just really great. I love everything about like the cardstock and the way it shuffles. So I was just kind of thinking about the Lo Scarabeo decks, and I like can picture in the metaphysical store that I go to like their wall of decks. It's like I know which Lo Scarabeo ones they have, and this is one that they always have. It's the Dark Grimoire Tarot, and I just kind of became curious about it. And I'm not exactly sure my thoughts yet on this one. I haven't really given it a fair chance. These are the backs, which are really fun and spooky. I feel like it both is and isn't a spooky season deck. It's based on the Necronomicon. I can't say that word, nor do I know what it is. I should look that up. But I love, first of all, though, that the aces are all these different books. That's really neat. I think what confuses me a bit about this deck is that it is based on something. The pictures seem like they're kind of different. This is a very shadowy deck, in my opinion. But the Little White Book does not go into the imagery at all. Like, not even slightly. You kind of just get a very general... I don't even think you get... maybe I need to look again, but I'm pretty sure I really looked at the guidebook. You get the majors, and then for the minors, you just get, like, the numerology. So you don't even get an entry for each of the minors, which is really interesting to me. But you see, something like that. You know, though, I can make meaning of that. I really just have to use this deck and try it out, but that to me was kind of interesting that it didn't explain. Like, look at this Two of Pentacles. Don't you want to know, like, what the thought was behind that? But, you know, if I look at it, I can figure that out. Usually the Two of Coins being about kind of that balancing act, responsibilities. So we have this image of this man trying to stab another man. I guess you can think of it as, like, when that goes wrong, really. I don't know. See, I don't know. I'm gonna have to just kind of... Maybe this is one where you just go off the images, honestly. That could be the case. Look at that Tower card. Ugh. It feels so fun and dark. It's interesting, because I didn't end up using this during October, because it does not feel like spooky October to me. It feels more like spooky November, December. It's got this kind of like folkloric feel to me, and again, I really need to look into whatever Necronomicon. Oh my gosh, that's it. Necronomicon. I need to figure out what that is, because I don't know. But anyway, I think this could be really cool. I just need to kind of figure it out, you know? That is the Dark Grimoire Tarot. Okay, I've got a very precarious pile going here. Excuse me, my throat just in the mornings lately. I don't know. Okay, next is a Kickstarter that came in, and it is the Vacant House Tarot. Now, there was a couple different options of, like, versions to get of this. You could get some pocket decks. There was a more... like a higher quality version that, like, the coloring was a bit different, but this is the standard one, and I'm very pleased with it. It is on this, like, pseudo linen cardstock, where it's not linen, it's definitely more of like a regular cardstock with that texture stamped, but it's really nice. And so this is basically like this kind of creepy doll mansion deck going on. And I am living for it. Again, this to me feels, oh my gosh, it almost has like a creepy nutcracker feel. Because I was gonna say, like, where would I slot this? And to me, like, looking at it now, I'm actually kind of like, ooh, December and January. And it totally has a nutcracker feel. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so much fun. But, oh, these are the backs of the standard. In the, I can't think of like the word they used, but like the more like special edition of it, all of the borders are this light blue that the cups are in, and the backs are that light blue too. And I do think that would look really beautiful laid out with all one color, but I do also really like the color changes between the suits. But I'm really excited about this deck. I haven't gotten too much into it. We got so many fun extras. Like, we got a bunch of stickers. We got tarot card stickers. I cannot wait. And now that I've made that association in my brain of nutcracker, like, that's gonna be so much fun. So much fun. So I've been a little obsessed with this one. I just think it's really fun and creepy. So that is the Vacant House Tarot. Okay, this next one, ooh, the next two were eBay buys. I just love, maybe, or, you know, eBay / Mercari. That's where I like to look most for secondhand decks. And this was definitely an Andy made me do it, because she got this deck maybe like mid-October and used it for a reading, and I immediately searched to see if I could get a used copy, which, just like with mass market decks, I always look for that first. But anyway, besides the point, it's the Everyday Witch Oracle. It's because Andy was really into using the Everyday Witch Tarot this month, so she was like, oh my gosh, neither of us have ever tried this oracle. The backs, first of all, oh my gosh, so good. Now, I have the mini version of the Everyday Witch Tarot somewhere. It's currently very MIA. It was my work deck, so it was the deck I always kept in my desk at work. And we went through a big construction project like all of last year, so everyone's stuff got moved around. Like, I brought all my stuff home at one point. Like, it just, so I have a feeling it might have gotten lost in the shuffle. I haven't given up hope yet, but I think if a few more weeks go by and it does not show up, I'm just gonna get another copy, because I really do miss it. I love that mini copy. Only sad thing is that I had it in a Peggy bag. It was one of the like mini pocket bags, and it was like this pink fabric with snails on it. It was so cute. So I'm almost more so hoping it shows up, because I'm like, I want that bag back. It was so cute. Anyway, I feel like I don't see this oracle around very much. Andy and I were talking about that, of like, why does, I mean, we're not saying no one uses this, but just like in our tarot tube watching, we don't see this one, and we're like, what? Why? Like, I guess maybe I made the assumption, which I shouldn't do, but I made the assumption that maybe this oracle wasn't like the best, because just I didn't really see it around. But it is so good and so fun. The messages in here are really, really fantastic. I possibly, honestly, might like the oracle more than the tarot. The tarot for me very much slotted into something I used at work, because we've got like some of the cards are like these very, I shouldn't do it that way, we'll just flip through, like modern, everyday people just like wearing a witch hat, which I love. I love any sort of like cheesiness like that. It makes me think of my cozy, witchy mysteries that I absolutely love so much. And so I think that's why it really slotted in for me as my work tarot, because so many, I mean, I'm working in the children's section, right? So like the kind of fantastical bit of bizarreness of that just makes sense in that setting. And it makes me think of the books that I really like to read. So, but the Oracle to me doesn't feel so, like caught between worlds in that way. And I've just really been enjoying it. I like even like the size of it, something about the size. I don't know, I just think it's really, really a great deck. This is the only card, okay, there's always going to be one card in a deck that you're like, don't know how I feel about that. And this is my one where I'm like, what's happening? Like, what is going on in this card? But not enough to like remove it from the deck or anything, but it's a bizarre one, right? But I love this one. It feels so magical. I can't wait. I think this one's gonna be really fun when I get really into that fantasy storytelling mode come December usually is when that happens. So that is the Everyday Witch Oracle. I've been really obsessed with that. Next, another eBay purchase, and this is out of print, but it is not super hard to find. I'm going to take a drink of my tea. Because perhaps that's why my throat is being weird. It's the Hobbit Tarot. Yay! So this is an old US Games deck, and if this interests you, it really is possible to, I would say, I don't know how much I bought this for. It was definitely under $40 though. I would say lower 30s, but you can definitely find this deck for like 40 and under if you're interested. But this is a tarot all based on The Hobbit, so that first book in the Lord of the Rings series, which I was intrigued by because that's the only one I've read. And I haven't watched the movies. I don't know. I just have a hard time watching movies. But I love the artwork in this deck. I love the theme. It feels so cozy to me. This kind, again, it's really fitting into what the mood I really get into starting this time of year, of leaning into story and fantasy. And I do have the Lord of the Rings Tarot from Inside Editions, and I love that one. It is very Pippish, so that one I definitely feel like you can use that tarot without knowing any of the story. And you could use this one too, without knowing any of the story, but I wanted this version as well, since that is the one book so far that I have read, so like I know what's going on here. And I just thought that would be really, really fun. I think it could be really fun to use them together too, because I think the artwork in here would look really amazing with the pips going on in the Lord of the Rings Tarot. But I'm excited about this one. These are the backs. We've got the ring. I love how much Gollum shows up in this deck. It's just really, really good. I'm excited for this one. I think this one's definitely, as we get to like mid to end December, or no, not December, sorry, November. That's really when I get into like, okay, I want the story and the fantasy and the magic. So that is the Hobbit Tarot. Love that. Oh, and I should say there's a little, not even like just a little white book. It's like a little bit more fancy than a little white book in this deck. It's like a magazine material. It does tell you like what's going on in the cards, so that is something to point out as well. I love the box, the tuck box on this. I'm really glad that this one I got is in good condition, because I knew I loved the look of the tuck box, and I'm definitely gonna keep it in this as long as possible. I cannot currently get it closed, we won't try, but like, right? So good. All right. next up is my absolute new obsession. I got this just about a week ago now, and I have used it every single day, multiple times a day. Oh my gosh. It is the Cozy Witch Tarot deck. And now, okay, I realize, like, Cozy Witch Tarot, this feels like it should, from the start, have screamed Krista, but I really had no plans to get it because of the, really, it's very people-y and people-y in, like, where it's showing a lot of modernity. Is that a word? I think it is. And that's not my jam. It's just not. Typically. But, oh my gosh, it feels like the warmest of all hugs in the best kind of way, and not in the way where it's like, it's not going to challenge you, because it does. I pulled the same card from this deck 2 or 3 days in a row because I was not paying attention to the message, and so it was like, hello, you have to take care of this. But so Andy got this deck before I did, and she was like, you just need to get it. And I was like, I don't know. Like, oh my gosh, look at, instead of the devil, toxic hold on, speaking words, I'm excited. Toxic witches, be cautious of those who take more than they give. How good is that? All of the key phrases on the bottom are a hit. And that's kind of what I was nervous about as well, is having that key phrase. I just wasn't sure about that. And so I saw a little bit of the deck from Andy. And then on Instagram, a lot of people that I follow and just really admire their deck collections and the way they use their decks were getting this deck, and I was like, okay. Like, and from people like I feel like I wouldn't have necessarily expected, I was like, all right, that's interesting. And then my friend Rachel, it was her birthday at the end of October, and she really wanted this deck, and which makes total sense. This deck makes so much sense for her. So me and a few of our other friends at work got it for her, and her birthday was a Friday, so that's when we worked together like all day. So she opened it up right then and there, and we were flipping through the cards together, and once I saw it in person, I was like, oh, I bought it sitting at my desk at work. And this is from, I didn't realize it's printed or published by Andrews McMeel, which I am such a fan. They also did Woodland Wardens. There's another deck they did I'm not thinking about, or I can't remember. But regardless, I love everything they do, from decks to, like, even when I'm buying the children's books for work, every time I see Andrews McMeel, I'm like, yeah, of course they publish that. They just come out with the best stuff lately. And something about, I love this matte cardstock they use, and like, the smell of it. If you have Woodland Wardens, you know the smell, and this is exactly the same. It's got a real inky smell in the best kind of way, but I have just been so blown away by this deck. I can't stop using it. Everything about it feels really, really cozy and comforting, but in the best kinds of ways, where it's like, it almost feels like it knows exactly what you need to hear. Like, sometimes I'll get a message that is really comforting and soft and light because that's what I need, and then other times it'll be more like a, okay, like, please check yourself, because that's what I need to hear. It just feels like it knows. Anyway, I just flipped through like the whole deck, but I'm so excited about this one. I want to edge it, but I'm nervous because of these light borders. I don't want to mess up the board. I don't want to mess up anything about this deck because I'm like, it's so good, but wouldn't getting this like caramel color on the side be so good? I'm gonna do it, let's be real. So, Cozy Witch Tarot, I can't recommend more. So good. Alright, last but not least, I've got a duo that I bought together, and this is a Jess from Jess Reads Cards made me do it, because she was showing this duo on her Instagram a bunch, and also we are both a part of Thea's from Garden Goddess Tarot, her membership, and a lot of us show like our daily readings in the Discord. And she was showing this combo all the time, and okay, I feel like I explained and I don't show, so I already made bags for them, so that's how you know. It is the Trionfi della Luna Paradoxical with the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle Seance Edition. So, the Trionfi della Luna Paradoxical is one that I've been wanting to get for a while anyway, because I have now 2 versions, actually, of the illustrated edition, and I really wanted a copy of the Marseille, and I didn't want to get the standard one because I've got the standard coloring of the illustrated, so I wanted to get the Paradoxical because I think the coloring is so... I love the brown. I really just love the brown. And when Jess showed these 2 colorings together, I was like, okay, that is the push I needed. So while I was ordering this, I had to get that in the cart as well because they looked so good. And it really is amazing to me. And like even the backs, oh my gosh. Like look at these decks together. So blown away. And I love the Mildred Payne Secret Pocket Oracle. I have the standard like original coloring of it and I use it all the time. I think it's so fantastic. And what I will say, because it seems like, you know, at face value, getting like the same deck just in different colorings, I don't know, like maybe just to me, like seems silly, but something about the way Patrick Valenza changes around the coloring, like it really gives it such a different feel, and I experienced that with getting the first version of the illustrated, and then this summer I got the Paradoxical, which is all in like a teal aqua color, which is amazing. And the feel of those were entirely different. And so I actually, like, I went back and forth about getting this, but I think just because sometimes I make myself unnecessarily feel bad for, like, getting something that's like, well, I already have it. Like, I don't know. Silly things I do sometimes. But I really am glad I did, because to tell you again, it's like the feel is entirely different. And I've been loving this combo. It's so magical, right? And I think that's just my, you know, if it's something that interests you, I feel like the same deck in different colors it's always gonna have a different vibe. Like even I'm excited to see the embroidered Graveyard Oracle, the latest Kickstarter I backed for the black edition. So that like first coloring that ever came out, I didn't get that one. I got the white one, which I love so much. So I'm excited to see this other coloring because it's gonna have a totally different feel, and I already know it. But the Patrick Valenza decks, they always, like the different colorings, always to me, like suit a different purpose, have a different feel. And I love these so much, as you can tell. I'm obsessed with the bags I made for them. Like, isn't that so don't ask why. So the orange really was, I was going off the fronts. Because to me, it's all about the fronts. And I don't really feel like the blue, I almost wish the backs were like an orange. Because I feel like in my brain, that's what works. And to be honest, this orange and this together, it sparked joy. So that's why we did it. And then this blue for the Mildred Payne, oh my gosh. And like something about them side by side. Oh, it's making me so happy. Can you tell? But anyways, my friends, that is the last thing I have to show you. I guess 2 things, last decks I have to show you. So I would love to know if you've gotten anything new recently, what you've been liking, or if anything, you know, even if anything was a miss, I love to hear. But other than that, I hope you're having a fantastic weekend, and I'll see you again very soon.